Today we're gonna talk about commodity currencies. There are a lot of currencies out there, but it is very important to understand the factors that influence these currencies. To trade nicely in forex, you need to understand what really causes that particular currency to move. Each currency that you see out there has its nature of movement. For it to appreciate or to depreciate, there are certain things that causes it to do so. Number of things that we can mention are the central bank decisions. The central bank decision, which strictly controls the strength of a currency as well, or controls the value of a currency through their monetary system. They use what we call interest rates. So with interest rates, it's a way in which they control the currency. No, now other than that, the strength of a currency or the value of a currency is directly proportional to the performance of an economy. For an economy, if there an economy that is doing well, it is also reflect on the currency. A strong economy will also mean that the currency will also be strong. Now, not not that there's certain currencies that strictly depend on commodities, meaning that they have a strong link between them and and the commodities. So one of them that we can mention here are Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar. So these are among other commodity related currencies. Okay, let me just try to bring that out. Okay, so what we're gonna look at Canada itself. So with Canada, Canada itself, it is known for its produce on what we call oil. Canada, mostly its GDP, it's widely dependent on oil itself. We can mention that the performance of the performance of oil has a direct relationship or a positive correlation with the currency itself, meaning that when when oil prices increases, meaning that it has a positive impact on the currency itself. Let me just do this. Yeah. So when oil prices increases, meaning it has a positive uh impact on the Canadian dollar. Yeah. So the same thing may happen when when oil prices reduces or falls. It will also have a negative impact on Canada or Canadian dollar. Yeah. So it has a positive correlation between Canadian dollar and the oil prices. Yeah. So we should be able to illustrate this on the charts in the next video. Yeah. And then the other thing that we can mention here is what we call Australian dollar. Australian dollar, it's also a commodity currency. Yeah. So we've just picked particular G10 currencies. So we're just focusing on this one. So for Australian dollar, it is widely uh, it has a positive correlation between it with gold itself. Other than gold, it also has some positive correlation with oil, iron and copper. Yeah, but the most influential one is gold. Australia itself, it produces a lot of gold at the global market. Yeah, so we can conclude that rising gold prices causes the Australian dollar to appreciate as well. Also, iron has a direct impact on the value of Australian dollar. Yeah. So we are going to demonstrate this on our charts. The same thing may happen to a New Zealand dollar. Yeah, it is also regarded as a commodity currency as well. And it is suffice to mention that a New Zealand dollar, it has same behavior as that of Australian dollar and Canadian dollar. Yeah. And then other things that you should also be reminded are what we call the trade. Australia and New Zealand, they are export oriented countries, and they export most of their produce to China. Australia itself, it enjoys its trade relationship with China. It is suffice to mention, I'd make mention that as was right, a booming economy in China will definitely have a positive impact on Australia. So we can mention that mm, Australia exports most of its produce to China, especially iron and gold. A country that exports more earns more revenue out of its trade. Yeah. So usually, uh, based on the economic system, when a country is exporting more, it earns more revenue, and then when it is when it exports less, it earns less as well. Compare that is also when it the same thing that happened when it is importing more. A country that is importing more, it meaning that it is giving away that money, and it will run low on money. Yeah. Yeah, an example that I can give you is during the period of a pandemic. Yeah, during the period of pandemic, there was a gradual fall on China's economy. The China's economy, the gross domestic product, shrank, and this had a negative impact on Australia because people in China were no longer importing more goods from Australia. More especially that there was a trade. The trade was really disrupted due to the COVID era. Yeah, not only the COVID era, but there also a situation where there's a slow growth in China. When the growth is really bad, the Australian dollar itself will also fall as well. Kindly follow these events that happen on the market, and you'll see what happens. Yeah, so I should be able to illustrate this on the charts and show you some of these events later. Other than that is what we call safe haven currencies. So with safe haven currencies, safe haven currencies uh, are currencies that are considered stable, reliable, and they are more unlikely to experience drastic fluctuations in value. So during economic shocks, these currencies they are able to stand, and people globally they are able to invest in them due to their stable in nature compared to other currencies. Yeah. So we are going to show you examples of safe haven currencies. Yeah, so these are examples of haven currencies. So with safe haven currencies, there's number one on the list is what we call the United States dollar. The United States dollar is one of the most traded currency and the strongest economy in the world, and the economy is really stable during a period of economic and instability at the world level. These currencies, which are known as safe haven currencies, they are able to withstand uh, the 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 calamity, the world calamity. Yeah. So during during this period, investors they're able to figure out which country to invest in. So we have the United States dollar. We also have the Swiss franc. Um, we also have the euro, as well as the Japan yen. Yeah. So these are usually these are usually the safe haven currencies. So with the euro itself, it has euro represents a currency from Europe, and Europe itself consists of many countries. So these 19 member countries, um, they chose one currency, which is euro itself. Yeah. And then Japanese yen as well. It's also a good safe haven as well, and it's widely traded at the international level. Um, and usually this one it's able to withstand uh, the global economic uncertainties as well. Other than that, we also have the pound itself. Pound pound itself is known for its stable economy, and usually doesn't really fall. Yeah, it usually does performs very well, and it's also regarded as a safe haven. Yeah, so that is the great British pound as well. Yeah. So what can we say? In conclusion, we can say that um, as you trade, it is very important to understand commodity rated currencies. So for commodity rated currencies, like the widely traded, we have the Australian dollar, we have the Canadian dollar, and New Zealand dollar. These are the G10 currencies. We have to understand that Canadian dollar, it's it produces a lot of oil. When oil prices, there's a positive correlation between Canadian dollar and the oil prices. When oil prices falls, the Canadian dollar also falls as well, because they're not earning much revenue from oil due to lower prices. The same thing might happen when oil prices increases. Then the other thing that can also mention is the gold and Australia. They have a positive correlation, meaning that when gold prices fall, even the Australian dollar falls as well. Also, the New Zealand dollar, it also has the same behavior as well. Now with it is into agriculture a lot, like milk, meat. It is pretty much into that. Yeah. And then we also did talk about the safe haven currencies. Safe haven currency at a global level, when things are not really good, people have a tendency to migrate their investment to countries that are that they believe it's safe to invest. If you can remember particular events such as a pandemic, as was wars, so there are certain currencies that performs very well during this period. Yeah. So the next uh we are going to show you on the charts the next time we meet. We're going to illustrate on our chart to see how these events such as wars, natural calamities, and also how uh, commodities perform and how they impact on the currencies. We're going to show them on the charts and see, so that you can understand. Otherwise, the next time we meet, we're going to talk about other commodities in detail, such as gold. If you want to trade gold, and how do you trade it? Also, ore, how do you trade ore? Yeah, I think we're just gonna end right here.